is for
Yeah.
you.
Fly was flying on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here cool on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, coming like Randall. Season head, really time to do him in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.
What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. Now, sometimes I have to sit back, even as a host, and I have to pat myself on the back because there's not many times you can get people that I consider goats of our arena, right? People that I look up to, people that I'm excited to speak to, excited to hear. So without further ado, I'll let you guys introduce yourselves for the maybe 2 or 3 people that don't know who you guys are. We'll start with Lord Brunson. Just let them know who you are. We do got LB and we got Tom Arnone from A2D Radio. So yeah, just let them know who you are, where they can find you.
I'm Lord Brunson. You can just type it in on Google and I should pop up somewhere, man. I make Eagles content, if you didn't know. At Lord_Brunson. I think it's on my header under my name. Yeah, you can find me pretty much anywhere Eagles talk is being talked about.
Yeah, same here. I like to just talk shit on my teams, good and bad. So you can find us just on A2D Radio, and that's it. I'm Tom Arnone, and man, it's good to be here with you two. Lord, I don't know if we ever talked before, so this is cool, right? Like this is fun.
Yeah, I think we. I'm pretty sure we said something to each other. Like I don't know if it was like a message or under some comments. I'm very familiar with your Twitter. I know who you are. Yeah, probably something on Twitter for sure.
Twitter's where everybody is. Everybody goes crazy on Twitter. But no, like I said, I'm very excited to do this. Both of you guys are big influences to what I do on here. Have a lot of fun watching you guys individually. So I love to bring content creators like you guys together. Now let's just hop right into it. We all talked a little bit, off of camera, and we talk all the time. But big news has come up where I'm sure you guys have all talked about on your respective channels. But, obviously Dallas Goddard is now a Philadelphia Eagle for the long term, and 4 years is long term. We'll start off with you again, Lord Brunson. How are you feeling right now about this Goddard deal? Where are you with it, man? How do you feel?
I don't like it. I ain't going to lie to you. Listen, I ain't going to be fake. I don't like it. I would have liked to see one more year out of Dallas Goddard before you start talking about giving somebody Kelsey money and Kittle money. That's a lot of money. We just gave him the bag, pretty much, right? We gave him the bag for having potential. Like, where they do that at? You know what I mean? and then when you talk about, I look at Dallas Goddard differently than everybody else. I like him. I believe he's talented for sure. When you think about what has he done? He has great moments. Like, he has great catches. Everybody always reverts back to the catch against Dallas where he got hit in the helmet, still ran. The touchdown didn't even catch, but that didn't even count, but that's on his highlight reel. I mean, when is he taking over a game? And I'm not trying to rag on him. Like, when you're talking about this kind of money, and we got other holes that we need to fill, when is he taking over a game? When has he had back-to-back 100-yard receptions in a game? Like, am I missing something? I just don't get it, that type of money.
No, you're not missing anything at all. That's the funny part. I'm not missing anything. Do you want me to go? You want me to go, Joe?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, this is Howie Roseman. This is what he does. This is what he loves to do. He loves to be the smartest guy in the room. And yeah, right now, it's top 3 tight end money. In 2 years, in Howie Roseman's eyes, it's not, right? Then it's like, well, then it's great value, right? Well, great value, one, comes with a guy playing all the time. And I feel like he's missed more than he has when I went back and looked at it. But, he missed, 5 games last year or 4 games? Enough. Right now, he's missing more games this year. I know the concussion is not on him, but it's still more games missed. And if you want to be paid that type of money, it's about availability. We know you have, we know what abilities you have. We've seen glimpses, but the best of that becomes you being available every Sunday. Or this deal looks really bad. I mean, you look around at the Josh Sweats and the deals he gives out early when it's like, wait. The guy's in a prove-it-year deal essentially right now. He's in a prove-it-year deal. So I want to see what a guy does in that deal before I go then extend him the big money. And I know the argument on the other side will be, well, you get him early. I don't know. He hasn't done enough, like Lord said to me, outside of he'll make some good catches and run guys over. And then people tell me, well, Ertz was here. I get it. But he hasn't taken a game over where I feel like this guy is a top 5 tight end in football. I just don't see it.
See, I mean, I respect this. See, I never thought I would be in the minority here. I'm actually cool with the deal. Like, I like the deal. And the more that you said, Tom, and you too, LB, is like, the more I'm starting to look at myself and kind of be like, okay, maybe that does make sense. Because it is a Howie mentality. Because I do have that mentality of that I feel like we got him early. He's mad young. I feel like the arrow's pointing up, right? Like, the availability is the best ability thing is something to definitely watch for. But I feel like that's with every player. Like, I feel like, especially if you're a Philadelphia Eagle for more than a year or two, we start questioning how healthy you can stay. I mean, like Jordan Howard literally never missed a down until he came. You know, like we could go down the list of guys that came to Philly and just all of a sudden were injury prone. So it's like, I definitely get it. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I like it. I'm happy about this deal. I don't know. I didn't think I would be the only one here. Now let me ask you this. Like you said you would rather see another year. Do you think the price could have went higher? Do you think this is too high of a price just in general, or do you think it's just because it's early?
I think we kind of like out negotiated ourselves. Like this was a guy you should have did as early as possible, because now if you wait a year, he could be an undrafted free agent. If he wasn't signed already, he would be an undrafted free agent to my knowledge, and people would have definitely put out. It would have been a bidding war for his services. So you kind of like waited too long. You know, you kind of he had you where he had you by the balls, man. Excuse my French.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta pay him that type of money. And I think a deal like this also can potentially still affect the market, because now you got Kelsey and now you have Kittle and then you have Andrews getting the same money. It's only a matter of time before they like, he ain't do what we did to get this money. You know what I mean? I want to restructure now. So the markets probably can still be all out of whack.
Yeah, it's to me, I don't hate it. That's what I don't want to come across either. Like I don't hate the deal. It's just a Howie deal, and I think he is a good tight end. I don't know where I would rank him, but I think he's good. I think he's a good blocker, right? He runs through contact, yards after catch, big red zone target. I mean, those things we've seen, right? So I know what they're thinking internally, and it makes sense. I mean, this is another second round draft pick. I mean, you can't continue to let these kind of guys walk out the door either. One, because they don't pan out most of the time when you talk about like JJs and those types, right? So you got to sort of hope and pray that some of these guys can be good enough. So again, I don't hate it. I'm like lukewarm, and Lord sold me a little bit more on you can get sold quick, right? Like, you know what I mean? He was a great salesman early on going first because he sold me on like where I was leaning, because I was really like right in the middle with it. And then you went and you sold me, Joe. If you would have went first, you probably would have sold me too. I mean, I'm up for grabs right now.
Yeah. No. Well, before we move on real quick, I don't hate it either. It's just Kittle you can build an offense around. Kelsey can take over a game. Andrews has been a number one wide receiver before, a number one receiver at the tight end position. What has Dallas Goddard really done to show he deserves to get paid, but not like those guys? That's just my only concern with it.
No, I agree. I mean, I do agree with that point. Like, and I even agree that he's getting paid off of what he could become, right? We're not looking at what he is. We're looking at what he could become. We're hoping that he does crack that top 5, top 3 conversation when it comes to tight end. And I feel like the tight end position is evolving now. That brings me to kind of to the next question, staying on that, is like, does this mean anything to you, like as far as what this team could be, or does this just kind of it was going to happen either way, not necessarily the best of deals, worst of deals, just like, does this mean something deeper? Do you think somebody else is coming next as far as a signing?
I think Maddox could be next, a guy that a lot of people aren't talking about. He's having a phenomenal year, but I don't think it's nothing really too deep into this one. It's just we knew it had to happen. They weren't going to let him walk out of the door. We just let Zach Ertz walk out. They weren't going to let it, get to that. But, it was coming. I'm not surprised.
No, once Ertz left, you knew it was coming. It just mattered how much money. And I don't think it's, like, again, in 2 years, it doesn't become, it's not a lot of money, essentially. It's not crazy money in 2 years, per se, than what the market is right now, like we were talking about. So, I mean, I think Avonte Maddox could be that next guy. I don't know if Miles Sanders is going to be the next guy. I think that's who it's up between, right? If there's another move coming, but I just don't know how you give. I don't even get into Miles right now, but I don't know how you go extend him. Avonte Max, another guy, went healthy, and he's been healthy all year. It's arguably been our best corner. He's tremendous in the slot. He always has been. We talk about he can't play the outside. In the slot, he's worth the money. So if there is another guy, I like Avante probably being that only guy. I don't see anybody else I'm looking the younger that I try to get early right now.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to be talking about Miles pretty soon. I'm definitely going to bring that up. But but either way, I agree. I mean, Avante seems like the most logical next person, especially now that he's got to figure out his half of the rent with way less money than Dallas Goddard, right? Like, I know they're roommates, so that's going to be an awkward situation when he's buying a manage. We'll see if Avante gets a room or something. But no, all seriousness, he seems like the next logical person. But Miles is a very toxic question, but a very important question to ask, because I feel like us as fans, we all know the talent he has, and I think that our organization should know the talent he has and what he could become. But it's like, availability as well, and just the amount of reps, we haven't given him the opportunity to really show us that he's that number one guy, throughout a season. And if you look at our success, it usually comes off the back of like a 3 running back. You know what I'm saying? For me, or, bullpen, whatever you want to call it, it comes off the back of a committee usually. So there's a lot going against him. But there is one person I want to talk about, just because I know we all have kind of different opinions about this person, but we all kind of have the same outcome. We all want him to be great. And Lord Brunson laughs. I know he knows what I'm talking about. But, Jalen Hurts, man. Jalen Hurts, I feel like, has had a very good last couple of games. Like I said, we've all had different opinions about him, but I just want to ask you guys, where are you guys right now as of right now today, going into the next week on Jalen Hurts? Do you think that he's improved to the point that he should deserve the trust of Howie and, the fan base moving forward?
I'm where I was at the whole time. Like a part of how I feel about Jalen Hurts, some of it was like a bit of a prediction because nobody knew what was going to happen. In a sense, everybody's predicting either he'll be good or bad. Nobody knows. But from what I saw the last 3 weeks, it just confirms to me that he's a learner, he's a hard worker, and he just needs some time. The real problem that I have and why I'm so pro Jalen Hurts is because all throughout walks of life, it's certain individuals who are put in situations to where they just got to be able to prove themselves. We didn't give them that, that courtesy. I give that to anybody. If you're from Mars, I'll give you the courtesy to prove yourself. I mean, damn, I'm not Jesus Christ. I at least owe you that. So, he goes and he takes his opportunity and he shows that he's improving. He shows that he's coachable. He shows that he's not going to cry about not throwing the ball as much or not throwing the ball too little. I mean, he's really been the focal point of turning this offense around into what we saw from Lamar Jackson and the Ravens the first couple of seasons. I mean, the running game ain't as dynamic as it is without Jalen Hurts, because you still got to have that in the back of your mind, too. He can run. So you got like 5 running backs in a sense. And I think Jalen Hurts and this coaching staff deserve a little bit of, slack. Well, Sirianni deserves a little slack for, the second half of the season, man. So I'm where I've always been, man. And do I think he deserves a chance? Yeah, he deserves more and more games to continue to get better. The same way that the media says about Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and them guys have looked absolutely trash. And nobody's not saying they don't deserve a chance. Even Fields, everybody, he needs time. He looked trash too. So give my man Jalen some time.
Yeah, I'm right where I was at the beginning too. I mean, it was 17 games. I needed to find out. It was a find out year. Now, through them 17, I thought I was allowed, I find out I'm not, that I was allowed to tell it how it is game in and game out, right? Like if you struggle, I'm going to say that you struggled. If I'm looking at things, but everything, that's neither here nor there. Right now, I would give him next year for more reasons than just I believe that he can be the guy. One, it's like you're a second round pick. I know all about you. I watched you enough in college, and I love your ability to lead. I love that you didn't take your ball and go home. There were things that were I was pro Jalen Hurts coming out of college. He could have ran from Alabama like a lot of guys did when Tua took his spot, and he came back, right? And then he transferred, but he didn't take his ball and go home like a lot of guys could. And I think that's honorable, and I think that shows what kind of character he is as a kid. So I was always willing to give him that opportunity. And what else? We were put in that situation too. Like, you better give him a chance. And you better hope, right? And you better hope he's the guy, because I don't want to go back and keep going back. And knowing that there's not a lot coming out this year that I love or that guy, I want to try to build around him. And I know, like I said at the beginning of the year, this team could win 10 games if they understood that what kind of identity they need to have. And that's a run-first offense because of everything Lord just said. When you have a quarterback that can run, right now I really want to put it in the belly some more because now I'm going to make linebackers have to wait a second or half a second. If they got to make decisions, then it creates space. So I think credit to Nick for changing and credit for Jalen for, again, not taking his ball and going home because he's not throwing the ball 40 times a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, facts. And shout out to my guy Ray. Nobody's gonna talk about the Patriots, but I appreciate that $6.99. It's in Canadian money, so that's probably like $3 in America. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know conversion rates like that, but I appreciate you, my guy. But no, I agree with you guys 100%. And that's $8. Oh, their money's worth more than ours. So that joke.
It's like close to $8. Yeah.
That joke blew up in my face. I thought, but even though I definitely agree with both of you guys, and I'm where I am, at the beginning of the year, I got to see what he is. I know I'm the Jalen Hurts hater to a lot of people, but I'm kind of at the same spot that you've been with Tom. Like I say from game in and game out, and I want to give him a chance. A lot of people come at me the wrong way. That's really what it is, and then it blows up into way more than it needs to be. But he's done better. So when he does better, I'm going to say it because he does deserve that. And I think I would hold on to him as well. Like you said, between the draft not being quarterback heavy, between him having a clear attribute that you can build an offense around. Like if you just accept, and I said this a couple of weeks ago before the Lions game, I was like, if you accept that you're a run first team as a front office and as a coaching staff, you can be an elite run team. Like we really can. We have all the different mixtures of what you need to be that type of team. And we just refuse to be it, especially when we had Zach Ertz. Like imagine being a run first team going through your tight ends. We had two of the best tight ends. Like we just refuse to be what we were good at. So I like what I'm seeing. And I think that if we continuously do that, hey, sky's the limit and you never know. And maybe he does become that guy. Now, let me ask you guys this, all the good stuff aside, what are you looking at from Jalen to improve upon? And on the opposite side of that, what around him needs to improve for us to be better next year?
I think I'm looking for him to, kind of be a little more patient in the pocket. That's one thing that I want to see him do. I want to see him be a little more patient in the pocket because that's the only way you could beat zone. Right now, if a team zones up and they send a free rusher, nobody can be patient under those circumstances. So he's falling into that trap that's not in his control at all a few times. But I just want to see him, a few times sit and diagnose the zone and understand where those spots are in between zones and in between movements and get the ball there. That's the next step of his, his evolution at the quarterback position. And I think, we've seen this before, though. This is why I was so, up on Jalen Hurts. We've seen this blueprint before. Russell Wilson didn't have a 300-yard passing game his rookie season. Dak Prescott didn't have a 300-yard passing game his rookie season. They were game managers. They had Lamar Jackson as well. They were game managers. They had to learn how to use their physical attributes until the smarts and the science of the game caught up to, just the mental part of it. So, yeah, I think we've seen the blueprint enough. I think he can be one of those guys, and I'm just excited to see what happens for the rest of the season. What was the second part of that question?
And what do you think needs to improve around him? Like, whether it's player wise or coaching wise.
More separation from guys other than Dallas Goddard and Smitty. Those are the only guys that can seem to get open. At some point, you just have to probably scale back the amount of times that Rager's even on the field to give you a chance, to give yourself the best chance of having a dynamic and explosive offense. So just shuffle things up a little bit, more separation from some guys in the passing game.
Yeah, listen, it's throwing guys open, right? That's the next step for me is being able to read and throw guys open. The good ones in this league do. You don't need to have a 98. You don't need to throw the ball 98 miles an hour to be a good quarterback in this league. You got to anticipate. You got to trust what you see. You got to go through your reads, right? And you got to throw guys open. And I think I don't know if those things can happen per se. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I always say this to people, and they're like, "I'm your hater," because I don't know. But I'm willing for him to prove these criticisms wrong, though, because these are the criticisms coming out of college. Like, I want him to prove me wrong. I've never wanted an athlete more in Philadelphia to prove draft night what my thought was of him wrong. I never wanted one more than him. And I think if there's a guy to prove me wrong, it's him because of his work ethic. So I believe that stuff's not going to stop for him. There is times this year I feel like he's looked better, than different games early on in the year. But I think that's something that's hard to change throughout the year, right, guys? That's more of like an off season. Okay, I worked on some things I need to get better at from year 1 to year 2. Now year 3 is your big year. That's why I'm willing to give him. It's your junior year of college. That's your monster year. That's when you get on the map, right? Your junior year of high school, right? That's when you become that 5-star recruit, right? So that junior year is big. It's gigantic. So I'm willing. Like if Trevor Lawrence was out this year and I get my hands on a guy that everybody assumes is going to be great, then of course I got to do what I got to do, right? But not knowing that guy probably isn't here and this kid's a worker, I'm willing to do it. And I think maybe next year we could be surprised in that junior year, per se, of his evolution. Now, look at me. I'm called a hater all the time, and I just said that to the people. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, Joe. I mean, me and you, we get crushed for being haters because we lose a game. We're upset. What are we going to do? We lost Joe, too. We lost
your audio, Joe.
Check it.
See, it's that button. It's the button we were talking about. Like the button we were talking
Bro,
about.
I just put it down. It's like I don't even have it.
I need like a fidget spinner or something because I just need to have like something in my head. But no, I really do agree. I agree with both of you guys. Like at the end of the day, I just want to see him consistent. I've seen flashes of him being great. I've seen flashes of him, not being that good as a passer. So I just want to see something consistent. Show me who you are on a consistent basis. Are you someone I can depend on in clutch situations to be able to throw the ball, to be able to, win games with your arm? And right now, I don't necessarily think he's there, but that's not a knock on him. Like you said, Brunson, we have plenty of numbers that we can dive through that a lot of quarterbacks took a year or took 2 years to get there. So if the franchise is willing to give him that time, I think that he's someone worth it, to your point, Tom, because of that work ethic, that he's someone worth it to give that time to, especially you're not paying him that much. It's not like you're paying him a exorbitant amount of money. And at worst, you build his stock, right? You at worst, if in year 3 you see, all right, look, I'm going to go get this guy in the draft, but hey, people like this guy. He has like that Teddy B type vibe that he'll go to a team, be a good leader. And you know what I'm saying? And you can get maybe a second or third or something around that. Who knows, right? But right now, I just think that it's like, that's really it for me. I just need to see that consistency. Now, around him, I just want to see, again, consistency. I want to see the front office and coaching staff accept who they are. If you're going to tell me you're not a running team, then Jalen Hurts is probably not your guy. If we're being 100% honest, if you're looking at getting, to the playoffs within the next couple years and expect your quarterback to throw it 40 times, I don't think Jalen Hurts is that guy. So you have to be realistic about it. So I just want to see the coaching staff be honest and be, consistent. We are this team and this is who we're going to strive to be. And I think we can succeed doing that. Like, I don't know. There's so much data out there that says that we are a great running team. And I just feel like they ignore it. They look at every other bit of data. They will literally look at Milton Williams' body fat versus his 40-yard and make up some type of equation that says he's a steal in the 3rd round. But they can't just look at their yards per game when rushing the ball equated to their wins. Like there's an obvious connection there. But I know I went on a rant, but it does pertain to what I want to talk to about next, which is Miles Sanders. Obviously, with the contract of Dallas Goddard, it begs the question, as we were saying, is Miles one of those people that are next? I want to ask you, do you think his contract is dependent on how he plays for the rest of the year when he comes back, assuming he comes back this week? Do you think his contract, if he gets a contract, will be dependent on how he plays?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's dependent on how he plays. I think I think the Eagles, kind of view Boston Scott as expendable, and he'll be out of the door, and they'll keep Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard, if anything, and still pay Miles Sanders. They're going to pay Miles Sanders regardless, I believe. Yeah, that's how I feel about the contract situation. I don't think it's dependent upon anything else other than, how many running backs we have on the roster. They'll let somebody go.
Do I think they should sign him?
Yeah, that's why I didn't. I just wanted to answer the first question because I just wanted to see
You
who's
don't
going
want
to
to
go
get
into
it
it.
in murky water.
I want to go in because I got some stuff to say about it.
I think listen. I think knowing Howie, he probably will. Yeah, I'll wait till the next part, but I think I'm right there with Lord. I'll wait for the next one, but I think he will. Well, I'll let you know if I think that's the right move.
Screw the next one because now y'all got me interested. Let me say, I will say to answer that, I do think he deserves a contract no matter what. I agree with you guys there. I think that even if it's not the most, crazy contract, I think he deserves that. Not necessarily because I don't think he's proven that he can stay healthy. I think that once we started actually revving up his touches in the first quarter, he goes down, and that's not his fault. But at the same time, it's not a good look. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're always at the fight and we always lose, I'm not saying you're the one losing us the fight, but I know how my hands work. And it's like
you always get knocked out at the fight and we get man down in the middle of the fight.
I'm not good. At some point, we can't keep saying that the other fighter's a good fighter. Like we fought a lot of people, so I don't know. But personally, I do think he deserves the contract. But like I said, let's screw the next one. Let's just hop right to the one I think you guys are insinuating. Now, like the whole, are you going to move on with Booby or are you moving on from Booby? Like, where would you fall on that conversation? Is he your running back one moving forward, or do you think you can get better value elsewhere?
Jordan Howard, my running back one moving forward. I don't lie to you. And it's not even just. I've seen Jordan Howard put in this type of work before. This ain't like, what was the kid, Josh Adams, a couple good games? No, we've seen Jordan Howard do this before. Like in Chicago, dudes were scared to tackle Jordan Howard. If you give him 15 plus carries a game, it start looking real, hey, man, you got to hit the weights or something. You ain't just going to be coming down creeping on, you know what I mean? You're not going to be creeping at the line of scrimmage thinking it's going to be easy with Jordan Howard. Miles Sanders, he has too much wasted movement to me, too much dancing around, hoping for the home run when Jordan Howard is just trying to inflict pain. Now look at our offensive line. You got Landon Dickerson, who is also trying to inflict pain. Lane Johnson, Kelsey, they're trying to get out there running and hitting. That's better suited for a guy who can just see the first hole and go. Because the big play is going to come because your line is already aggressive. If you're aggressive behind your line and you're not dancing, pitter-patting around, but then I will say this, though. He ran a lot out of RPOs and out of shotgun a lot. So the game plan really wasn't how it was supposed to be for us to have a winning formula. But I've seen enough from Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard runs so effective, and he puts so much pressure on defenses that it don't even matter who the running back two is. Boston Scott is averaging 5.1 yards a carry just because Jordan Howard is softening up the defense for him. So it don't even really matter who the running back two is. I like Jordan Howard. He scares people more than Miles Sanders does, and that's just the truth.
I respect that.
Oh, listen, I mean, there's a lot of people who didn't want Jordan Howard to go and was confused why he went because they were the perfect complement for each other too. When you talk about the linebacker position, other positions, when you got a guy who's going to beat you up, and then explosive comes, like we talk about that half a step, right? And maybe you're half a step late getting there because you're used to seeing another guy do it a certain way. So the muscle memory, right? And then that's why Miles had so many home runs that year when they were together. So I thought they complemented each other extremely well. But I don't know if I move on with them because again, he hasn't put it all together for me. It's the same issues he had at Penn State. I mean, I need to hold on to the football. I know this year he hasn't got enough touches to not hold on to the football. But last year, that was a major problem. And people just poo-pooed it because we were so worried about how bad Carson was playing. But, I mean, the guy couldn't hold on to the football last year. And people were like, well, why is he not in? Why is Doug not running him? And people aren't watching Deuce Staley lay into him on the sidelines last year numerous times that nobody ever wanted to talk about. So I look at those things, and it's concerning to me. And then you post about you're going to be the MVP of the league. Like, I don't know. Like, I love confidence, but there's also overconfidence where you don't know realistically on what you should be. And the last part of it, when you don't put your foot in the ground, and people tell me, oh, Tom, you got to watch him more. I watch him plenty. When you don't put your foot in the ground and you don't want to ever create contact, you're not a running back. You're not a running back. I've watched Alvin Kamara lower his shoulder more than I've seen Miles Sanders. And Miles Sanders is a big guy. Miles Sanders isn't small when you look at him. I'm not saying he's Jordan Howard thick or Derrick Henry, but he's not a tiny guy. per se. He never wants to inflict any bit of contact. To me, you're a skill position guy, and there's a role for you, but not to get paid, number one running back money.
Oh, my bad.
I respect
I'm ranting about.
I agree.
Now you got me ranting about.
Skill position guy, and there's a role for you.
I respect.
No, I feel
mean,
you.
Bro, I'm a Miles Sanders fan. I'm a Penn State fan. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So I love Miles Sanders, but you're 100% right, but he's had the same issues since college, right? You came in as a number one recruit into college, didn't start till your fourth year. God bless you for staying loyal. Like I love him for that, but you probably should have went somewhere else and got some touches because like you had a lot to work on, especially coming out of college. So it is what it is. Am I moving on from him? It really depends on how much he wants. If he thinks he's going to get paid like top tier running back money and, get paid off what he can be, then, we can probably get better value somewhere else. Like we can probably draft a third round running back. I mean, it's been done how many times? You talk about, chemistry and you talk about, a 1-2 punch. Corey Clement was looking like a all world running back in the playoff run that we had. Just because of the guys that he had around there. He was such a different, gadget that he got his own niche. He had his own little pocket. So yeah, I agree. It almost doesn't matter who your second guy is if you have somebody like a Jordan Howard or somebody else that can kind of My internet is terrible. You got to love Florida. But either way, so the next thing I want to talk about is the Saints. Obviously, we're going up against the Saints this weekend. 1 o'clock, it's going to be a fun game. I'm sure a lot of us are going to be live for it and everything. And shout out to everybody in the chat. We got 80 people in here. Be sure to hit the like, hit the subscribe. Be sure to, if you haven't already checked out A2D, be sure to. If you haven't already checked out my guy, Lord Brunson, be sure to. These guys are two of the best doing it right now. Honor to have them on. This is a lot of fun. We got a couple more topics we're going to talk about, and then we'll get into a couple comic questions, and then we'll get out of here. But like I said, I want to talk about the Saints, and the first question I want to talk about is just off rip. I'm going to say that it is. I'm going to make my answer short and sweet, but do you guys think that this is a must-win situation for the Eagles right now?
Yeah, man, we ain't win a home game yet. And Trevor, and Trevor Siemian coming there. I think this is the most important game of the season for Jonathan Gannon for me. If you let Trevor Siemian come out there and stroke this defense, you got to go. You got to go. If Trevor Siemian come out here and have his way, every video I make for the rest of the season will be talking about when he going. I mean, you got to win this game. You playing the best football of the season. You got Trevor Siemian coming in at home. Now you everybody's happy. The media been all smiling. They talking about Jalen Hurts all positively. We supposed to be wearing the blackout uniforms. If you don't go out there and win this game, bro, you better win this game. I'm so sure they're gonna win this game. I'm like a step from just guaranteeing, victory on Twitter. I'm gonna wait a little minute. I'm gonna think about it, but I'm really about to guarantee victory. That's just how I feel about this game.
Hell yeah, they better. I mean. You can't be 0-5 at home. I mean, it's some of the worst Eagles football I've ever watched in my life. We weren't like this at home. So, no, absolutely not. This is a big game for Jalen Hurts. It's a big game for Nick Sirianni and for Mr. Sunglasses, Jonathan Gannon, right? I mean, it's a big game for all these guys, in my opinion. You got to figure it out at home. You got to find a way to win a game at home. And especially, now listen, if Jameis was there, then I say, okay, it's obviously a harder game. Okay, harder. And I'm not crowning Jameis. If Drew Brees was there, then I'll say, absolutely, it's even a harder game. Right? Neither one of those guys are there anymore. It is Trevor Siemian and Taysom Hill. If them two guys come in here and they spin all over the yard on you, we got problems. Houston, we got big time problems. So to me, it's got to be a defensive one game. You got to win it up front. You got to beat people up. You got to take the ball away. You got to help out your young quarterback. You got to do some of these things on Sunday, and you got to show me that you actually can play at home. I mean, that's the biggest thing. So we can't talk playoffs or easy schedule. I don't want to hear any of that unless there's a victory Sunday, because if you're 0-5 at home, you don't even have to be you're not even deserve the time or the energy to talk about, well, I got an easy schedule remaining. We're 0-5 at home.
We got a lot of home games left.
That's a fact. This isn't a must. To me, this is not like a must-win game. This is one of those games that it's like, if you don't win this game, I swear to you, like you ever been in school, you've been getting bullied, and you go to your dad and you're like, listen, this kid keep on saying he's gonna beat me up, and your dad just like, if you don't whoop his, I'm gonna whoop you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is one of those games for the Eagles. If you don't whoop they butt, I'm gonna whoop your butt. How about that? Like, you better go out there and dogfight, because it's true. We haven't won a game at home. We're over here hype about a lot of certain aspects of the team, which we have the right to be. Don't get me wrong. We've won some games we probably shouldn't have won, but we've also lost some games that we shouldn't have lost. So, you know, like, this is a game that you put a stamp on all of what we've been saying, that the rest of our schedule looks easy. Because if we can win this game and in a dominating fashion, of course, it says to me, all right, yeah, now I definitely feel good about the rest of the season, because we're not going to let a bad quarterback take advantage of us. Because you can make an argument that even down to Derek Carr's having one of the best years of his career outside of us. You know, obviously he had one of the best games of his life against us, but, you know, career-wise, he's having his best year. So you can argue that we kind of got played by some of the better quarterbacks in this league right now. You can make that argument, but you can also make the argument that the Eagles have taken care of the quarterbacks that they should have taken care of, right? Like, you know, you look at Matt Ryan, you look at Sam Darnold, you look at the quarterbacks we've beaten. Jimmy Garoppolo was a close game. We kind of took care of him. You know, you look at that and it's like, all right, at least beat the guys you're supposed to beat. If you do that, then I think that the rest of our schedule looks pretty easy. I don't think Daniel Jones is somebody I'm afraid of. I don't think Taylor Heineke or Heineken, I don't know how to say his name. I'm not afraid of him. You know, like, I'm not afraid of any of these guys. So that's what it comes down to. Like you guys were saying, this is a game you better win, not just a must win. Forget the playoffs. If you lose this game, this is a very, very bad look, especially for the defense. So I 100% agree with you. Now, are there any key matchups that you guys are looking at? Like, you know, whether it be on our offense or defense, is there any key players or matchups that you guys are going to keep an eye out on Sunday?
I got two for offense and one for defense. Dallas Goddard. I'm looking at Dallas Goddard. Not because he got paid. I said this before he got paid. I'm looking at Dallas Goddard because if he's matched up on Malcolm Jenkins, you got to take advantage of that. I mean, Malcolm Jenkins is like 50 years old, man. You got to take advantage of that. I'm looking for Dallas Goddard to, you know, win some of his matchups. I'm looking at Miles Sanders too. If Miles Sanders is coming back, I'm expecting to see the same level of productivity from this running game. I'm not going to lie. Now, we are facing, what is this, the number one run-stopping defense in the league? I think they're giving up 3.9 yards a carry or something like that. We are playing those guys, but I'm still looking at the ball being moved on the ground just as much as it was the last few weeks. We just played Denver. You know, if you can run on Denver, you should be able to run on anybody. Now, on defense, I'm looking at Slay, man. Every time I say Slay, he come up with the ball. It's big play Slay. I'm looking at Slay. I got to say Slay until, you know, he have a bad week. I'm looking at Slay.
Yeah, same. Offensively, I'm looking at this offensive line versus their front and their linebackers and saying, you know, like, we think you guys are playing at a high level because it's obvious by the numbers you are, right? And by watching you guys, and it looks like a lot of road graders up there. So I want to see what they do against now, like, arguably maybe the best run defense in football. So, you know, and you come out and you can beat them up a little bit. That'll be big. Not only just for this game, but moving forward. Then they're like, okay, this definitely can be an identity that we talked about earlier on in the show about, you know, can you have an identity of being a run first team and take the fight to people? Tennessee does it. You know, they won't come in. Hey, everybody knows what we're going to do. Everybody knows what we're doing tonight. Can you stop it? Right. And I love that. I like that. I like taking on that kind of, you know, mentality as a football team too. So I'm really interested to see that. And defensively, like, can we, do we sack anybody? Like, I just feel like we never get home. I don't know if we had a turnover, like a strip sack since the Super Bowl. I really don't know. Like, I say this every week too. Like, I don't know the last strip sack we had. We need some turnovers Sunday, some more of them. I know we've been getting a little bit more than we have, and they come in bunches. We definitely are getting more than we did last year. But I'm looking at that side of it. Can we get the Trevor Siemian, please? Can we put him on his backside a few times Sunday? I got a lot of money up there. I'm looking right at you, Fletcher Cox. I'm looking right at you.
Facts. In fact, don't say his name too loud. He was going crazy on Twitter the other day. He might come at you.
Let's be watching now.
For real. Him and Darius Slay about to beat somebody up on Twitter. Like, damn, bro, come on. But no, all jokes aside, look, I'm looking at a big matchup to me is Devontae Smith versus Humphrey, I think his name is right there. Marlon Humphrey, their cornerback. I want to see how it goes. I think Devontae Smith, I have a lot of Like, I have a lot of faith in what Devontae Smith is about to become and what he is right now. I think he is a very, very good wide receiver, and I'm excited to see him progress. And I think this is a big test for him. So I'll be interested to see how he plays, but I'll also be interested to see how he is utilized by this coaching staff, to see how they, move him around the formation. I want the Lattimore, Marshawn Lattimore. There we go. I knew I was thinking about the wrong person, but I want to see how we're utilizing him because he's a big player for us. At the end of the day, I know Dallas Goedert just got paid. He's a guy that we all should have our eye on. The offensive line, obviously, we should have our eye on. But Devontae Smith is the guy. Defensively, I'm going to keep my eye on two people in the same spot. And that's going to be Davion Taylor and TJ Edwards. Continue to impress me, young men. And continue because the number of linebackers that I think that we needed to get in the next year's draft have went from like 4 to about 2. I'm saying you get 2 solid ones and we might have something cooking here. Like, I really still think we need that one big playmaker at linebacker, but I have no trepidations about having Davion Taylor and TJ Edwards out there as our guys on the edges, or if you feel comfortable putting TJ in the middle. I have no problem with that. I do feel like we need that one ground baker because every defense needs that one linebacker that can just kind of put everything in the right spot. So those are the guys I'm looking at. Now, the last question I want to ask about the Saints game is kind of then what? Like, if we are to win this game, then what? What happens with this team? And on the opposite side, if we lose this game, then what? I think the lose this game one would probably be more of the interesting of the two. But what are your thoughts going into this game? If we win this game, then what? If we lose this game, then what?
I'm going to start with the lose. If you lose this game, it's going to be devastating for the city. A lot of people are going to be upset going to work on Monday. If you lose to Trevor Siemian, and it's your 5th straight loss at home, you haven't won a home game. These are people who spend a lot of money, man, at the link. If you lose this game, it's going to be devastating. It's going to be. I'm going to be sad. I'm going to talk for me now. I'm going to be hurt if they lose this game, bro. Now, if you win this game, I'm thinking playoffs. I'm not looking ahead, but I am looking at Washington like you don't have Chase Young. And we can inflict our pain on you guys with the offensive line. I'm looking at the Jets, and I see a lot of easy food. It's like a buffet. I see a lot of people we should just beat up on. You know what I mean? So I feel good. I'm thinking playoffs if you win. If you lose, pack it up. Pack it up if you lose this game.
Yeah, hey, listen. If you win, you're feeling delicious. We're feeling delicious. I mean, we really are sitting here on Sunday night and Monday morning, and we're yelling and screaming how we're a playoff team, right? We absolutely can be that 7 seed. So we're feeling good, right? I mean, the season changed so much. I mean, how would we not feel great, right? I already said, if Jalen Hurts comes out and slings it around the yard Sunday and plays great, I'm putting him on the back of a horse with me, and we're riding down Broad Street because we're going to start getting that ready. We're going to start getting Broad ready, not for this year, but for the coming years, right? We're going to start getting it ready because this is such a big game for me. So winning, I'm going to feel great. Losing, I mean, how can you not agree with everything Lord said there? I mean, losing, people spend a lot of money. People are going to be mad. And not even about the money, too, just about our time that we put in and how big of fans we are. That this is, and to go 0-5 at home if you lose it, and you know how much, the schedule after it, right? If the schedule after was Tampa, Kansas City, etc., and you knew those types of teams you were playing after it, then it's like, we don't expect to do anything anyway, right? Mm-hmm. But knowing what's after the fact, oh my God, this would be
right there for you, literally.
That's I didn't even think of it like that, but now that you say that, that's probably the worst part of it. I didn't even think of it because then you're in the same purgatory that you were last year. Last year we were a terrible team on all accounts, but we were 3-10 sitting there like, well, if we win 1 or 2 games, like we never know, and it's like I kind of just want to know whether we should be rooting or not, like because after this game, like you said, if we lost this game and then you're like, oh well, that was our last easy win. No, it's like you probably lose this game and then you win a couple games that don't matter. And then your draft pick sucks, this, that. You look at a bunch of different things and you're just like, why? Like, what just happened? It gets even worse. But, I mean, like, I agree. If we win this game, all arrows are pointing up. There's, like I said before, I think there's no reason why we can't beat every quarterback because that's, to me, what it comes down to with this defense. You can beat every quarterback going on, right? And you look at Washington, shoot, Ryan Kerrigan, all due respect. I hope he ain't watching this. We've had him on the show. Go watch the interview. Great guy. but you haven't done anything all season. So at the end of the day, if you can't come home and do something for us, like in those 2 games, you go out there and give me 2 sacks in both of those Washington games. You good. You deserve that money. I'm cool with you. I ain't even gonna be mad at the rest of the year. But like, he hasn't done nothing, so something has to give, especially in those games. But we have to win this game. I think we will. Quickly, do you guys see this as a win game? Like, I think it's pretty obvious we all expect this to be a win, right? We all got it as a win.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah,
all right. I just want to
this game.
Yeah. Make sure. I just want to make sure. We better. That's all I know, because I will bail money. I'm gonna need way more than $8 from Canada.
Listen, if we lose,
if we lose this game,
I'm gonna make a deal with you all right now. If we lose this game, please come on a live stream with me on my channel. Because since we all feel the same way, I just need to talk. I need a therapy session with the guys that feel the same way I feel. Totally. Just come on my show anytime after the loss.
Facts. You already know. Yeah. So, all right. So let's move on to the next thing. And it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, do you guys think right now, obviously it's tough to look forward. And I think we all kind of answered this, but do you think with this coaching staff in place that this can be a playoff team?
This year?
This year. Yeah.
This year? Yeah. I think it can be a playoff team because, I'm starting to understand Jonathan Gannon's pattern. He respects elite passers. He backs off 7 yards. He don't do that with guys who are middle of the pack or worse. We got a lot of middle of the pack or worse guys left. And I think he's going to be real aggressive, in playing those type of quarterbacks as opposed to, backing off for Mahomes, backing off for Brady, Herbert, Dak, what's the other guy, Carr. He showed those guys way too much respect. But when you talk about Darnold and Bridgewater, he showed them no respect at all. So I think he's going to be that guy who fears elite passers and just changes up his whole game plan against bad quarterbacks. And I think we're going to see more of that. So, yeah, if Gannon continues with that trend, then I think we could be a playoff team.
Yeah, and it's a bad trend moving forward after this year. Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't go overboard with this either because I still got major question marks with Nick Sirianni, but at least I saw a change and the ability to adjust and the ability to understand. And it's okay. You want to come in and you want to throw the ball 40 times a game early on and see what you have in terms of that. Okay. You sort of have house money here anyway. It's year 1, right? But the ability to say, you know what, this isn't working like this. We gotta change our identity a little bit. We got to change what we do. And the ability to be able to do that, that makes me feel good moving forward more than I did. Now, I'm not running around saying I want this guy here for 5 years, right? But that made me at least feel better that they can. And the same thing with Jonathan Gannon a little bit. But that you're right, Lord. That's more of a trend of him doing that. So he hasn't showed me really the ability to adjust. He just showed me that this is what I'm going to do against guys that aren't good, and this is what I'm going to do against the best. So, but in terms of what I've seen from the coaching staff and where our chances are making the playoffs and our schedule and all those things, sure, I'll say it's a playoff team for fun.
Definitely. Yeah, I respect that. And yeah, Gannon just got it. I don't know, man. Like I said it like kind of jokingly, like through midseason when Nick Sirianni finally got it together a little bit on offense, that I was like, they're rookies too. They got to progress. But like, hey, at some point you got to change it up. At some point you got to like realize you're not doing right. And especially when Nick Sirianni, we all heard that, rumor about him coming out and kind of calling him out, during the meetings and stuff. So I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, if he doesn't, I'm sure he won't be here next year. It'll be interesting to see who takes that spot because we got a lot of young coordinators. It'll be interesting to see if they just try to promote somebody or if they just go outside of the farm. But last question I want to ask, and then I'm opening up the forum. We'll take like a question or two. If anybody wants to drop a question, my dog's barking, going crazy. But if you guys want to ask a question, drop some questions in the comments, and I'll take a couple questions before we go. But the last question I want to ask is, looking at this remaining schedule and the opponents we have, how many remaining wins do you see on that schedule? And is there any games that you think might be a trap?
It's 4 trap games. The Giants and the Washington. I mean, it's a division game. We should beat those guys. But, just the history of the NFC East, man, those are going to be tough games. They're winnable, though, at the same time. So I'm kind of torn between that. So I think we should beat both of those teams both times, actually. And we probably might end up losing to Dallas again because Dallas will be in a position to where they have to play almost every game, I think, and they'll have to get that number one seed because there's only one number one seed per conference this year. And Dallas, if they don't get their number one seed, they know they're done. Come on. They need the number one seed more than anybody. So I think every game is winnable. I'm kind of overlooking the Jets, but the Jets do have a good defense as well. I think at the minimum, you should win at least 4 of these games. At least 4 to 5 of the last games on the schedule. And the Saints on Sunday. Add that too. You should win that game too.
Yeah, 7 games left, 5-2, right? It'd be typical Philly, though, to that last game is going to mean getting in or not. And it would be typical us that we lose that game at home versus Dallas. I mean, I feel like that's how that will go for us. They're going for the number one seed and we're going to get in. and we coughed that one up, and that's why we're 5-2. But still, I mean, that'd be a great finish either way, moving forward. Because you'd be talking about, being 6-2 in your last 8 down the stretch. So you're playing some high level football at that point. So, but I'll say 5-2. 5-2. I mean, it could be 6-1. I mean, a lot of it depends on Sunday, right? Because then we could all be shifting that a little bit. Like we win Sunday, maybe a split versus Washington, maybe a split versus the Giants, but they're almost the same teams you are. You could easily win both of those games. So it's a weird little. Now, so like you said, the trap game. The trap game would be trap for us. It'd be Dallas. It'd be week. Whatever week that is now. But it'll be that last week.
Right. Week 20. I feel like they move it back every other week just to get some more money. I think that I've said this before, and I had it on the chalkboard. I've had my chalkboard up, and I said Eagles are going 7-4 in the last 11 games. And for that to happen, I think we need to win 5 more games. So I think that that's what's going to happen. I think we win 5 more games, and I think that we probably sneak into the playoffs with like that because we have the tiebreaker over a lot of the teams that are in the position that we would, be going for in the 7th spot. So I could see us doing it. Some people are saying that they see us winning out and stuff. Maybe, who knows? But we'll take like a question or two real quick. That's what I'm saying. I love the enthusiasm though. Hey, so Grand Desir number, I don't know. He says, which 2 Eagles players should be re-signed or extended?
Jordan Howard, Devontae Maddox.
Yeah, I got to look at like everybody to be up or all that stuff. But I would say
those 2.
I would say Avante and I don't even know after that. That's where we're at, really, right? I mean, they brought Sweat back, so he's here. So linebacker wise, them guys are all back. Maybe Steven Nelson. Maybe.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Like not thinking about him. Not saying he's played great, but like maybe another 1-year deal type deal. Maybe same thing. Anthony Harris, who hasn't really played great but hasn't played bad. I'm just thinking of guys that could get like another 1-year deal just to be another Band-Aid again. But that's probably all I can think of, really.
Yeah, I was gonna say Steven Nelson. I was gonna be my little shocker pick, but of course, Tom, you just gotta come on my show, take my shocker picks. You know what I'm saying? No, yeah, I think that Steve Nelson's a guy you gotta at least look at. You gotta at least like kind of, I mean, he's had a solid year, and he's not that old. I guess it depends on the direction you want to go in, but that was one guy I was thinking of. And I'm gonna jump off a cliff and I'm gonna say give Miles Sanders a deal. I don't know if it'll be like an exorbitant amount of money, but if you can get him for like I don't want to say a number and then y'all be like that's way too much money, but if you can get him for a decent contract where it's team friendly, cap's not too crazy, and you know what I'm saying, he's an option like you so eloquently said, Tom. He could just be a role player. There's a role for him, right? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's an option right there. So I would be cool with that. Those 2 guys come off the top of my head, but I before I do go, because this kind of makes me want to ask this question. Darius Slay is getting paid like $23 million on the cap next year. Do you think that stays like that, or do you think something happens, whether it be an extension, a restructure, or a trade? Do you think he's going to stay at that cap number next year? Because he's had a good year.
At the minimum, he got to stay there. If you talk about cutting his bread, he gonna want to bounce. I can tell his personality. I mean, he's doing way too much for the team. He's doing way too much for this defense right now to not get paid. You know what you said you was going to pay him at least. If you want to pay that all out in 1 year, you know, give him an extension. But you gotta at least agree to your contract. At least don't try to restructure him or anything. Just give him his 23 mil.
Well, I guess we're gonna find out how much. I love Darius, by the way, so I want to make sure I'm taking shots at the guy. Let's find out how much of a team guy he is, because pretty much everybody else on this roster has taken a restructure at some point, if needed, right? Like if that restructures to say, hey, this gets me this player, right? Next year, then we're gonna find, we'll find out how much he wants to win, right? Because sometimes Detroit gets the best of you. Sometimes Detroit gets the best of you. You've been somewhere for so long that you don't win. Right, you can get the best of you not thinking straight. As long as they can make sure that $23 million is somehow still given throughout the deal. But I mean, I would think it would be smart for them to extend and load up some guaranteed money for him and do it that way. Which I think that if they did it that way, it could work. I could also see. I don't know what kind of cap hit he is. I don't know what his cap hit would be.
Yeah, I just have in the back of my mind that I know he's $23 million next year just because of the restructure that he did this year. So, like, I mean, I agree with you guys. Like, at the end of he did restructure this year to move money back. That's why he's getting paid so much next year. I could be wrong about that, but I'm 100%. I'm not. I don't want to say 100. I can't say I could be wrong and then say I'm 100% sure.
Yo, no, I don't know. I thought he signed like a 2-year extension, right?
I want to say it was a restructure because I know that it moved a lot of money.
It was a restructure.
Year.
He didn't get
extended. Okay.
Yeah, it was a restructure.
Yeah, because I know it moved a lot of money to next year. Because that's been on the back of my mind. That's why I'm looking at it. That's why I've told people that I feel like cornerback's a very important position, the secondary in general. Because I really, outside of Darius Slay, who, like I'm saying, is getting paid a lot of money, Devontae Mag's contract's up. So there's a lot going on at that secondary spot. Shout out to Nick.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry, I take back my comment then. I mean, I can't call him selfish if he doesn't restructure again. I mean, restructuring every year, So, no, I take back my comment then. Now I'm going to go one step further. Last thing, then I can see, I don't know what his cap hit is, but I can see this loser in charge move him or snip it. I can see it. I don't know what the cap hit is, though. I would need to know what that number is before really being sure he would do that.
How he does some dumb stuff.
It would be criminal if he did that. I mean, you could link 2 wins directly to Darius Slay for real. Yeah, he turned the game around in North Carolina. I mean, he did get the scoop and score. Last week Denver looked like they were about to be, just 1 score behind. He helped blow that game open. Darius Slay, I mean, Darius Slay backs it up too, man. He be saying, "Let me travel with the best," and every time you do it, good things happen. I mean, look, man, you got to pay Darius Slay. You got to give him extend him. Certain dudes you got to keep because it's looking like you're not going to be around long.
I want to keep him big time because he's a guy who doesn't block you if you're critical, right? And I'm a big fan of them. Like Leon Rager critical block, right? And there's guys who are going to block you immediately for being like, well, I see what your handle is. It's called big play Slay. I don't know if you made one since you got here, right? And then all of a sudden, I feel like he heard me, right? He heard me week in, week out. Say, hello, you there? And then boom, right? And then it became contagious for him. He's made a lot of big plays. So I want to give him credit. 1 for not blocking, and 2 for just keep going about your business, right? Keep going about your business.
Facts. I like it.
You learned that from Detroit. Block out the noise and just play.
Yeah, they probably trying to fight you out there. Like they call us such a bad time. Like Detroit's crazy too. There's a bunch of crazy cities out there. But shout out to my guy Nick. He says, "What's up, guys? Hey, Tommy, let's get this dub this weekend. Go Birds!" I appreciate you for that super chat. And then this will be the last question. Shout out to Barry Bird Gang Mafia with the $2 super chat, and he wants to know: do we trade Brooks and Johnson and draft youth? How do you guys feel about that?
I forgot Brooks was even on the roster. Yeah, you got to trade him.
I think he forgot.
I forgot. Like I just forgot. Like, you got to trade him. And I'm keeping Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson could probably retire an Eagle, in my opinion. He's still playing at a high level.
Man, Lord going ahead of me the whole time, Joe. I mean, it feels like I'm
sorry.
No. I love it. I don't care where I go. I just feel like I'm the parrot because everything he's saying is factual this whole time. And I feel like the parrot going next. Like, agreed? Because, I mean, that's the fact. I mean, it's
That's probably the first time I went second. I went first. Any panel I've been in.
Keep going. I don't care. Because, I mean, it just says that we're all right on the same page with this stuff, which is good. Because a lot of times, when we talk Eagles football, there's people it's all crazy, but it's good to like see that we're all seeing the same thing. I trade Brooks, release Brooks, and I love Brandon Brooks, but it's time. I can't keep having this happen year in, year out. In terms of Lane, I think you need him back. Right? He's still arguably, I don't want to say top 5 because there's a lot of good tackles in football, but let's say top 10 right tackle in football. I don't want to give him a top 5, but top 10 still big time. So, and I think he still has the ability to do that for another 2 years, at least. So I'm not running from him yet. I'm watching Whitworth with the Rams. He looks like he's 90. He's 90 with his beard. I mean, he's all gray. I'm like, this guy's still blocking out the sun. Then I don't need to. I don't need to necessarily get rid of guys because they're 31, 32.
Yeah, no, I agree with both of you guys. I mean, look, Brandon Brooks. Look, LB, you said it perfectly. I forget that he's on the team half the time. Yeah. Like people ask me what the timeline of his rehab is. There has been none. He's like, and it sucks because he is a great talent, but like whether it's, and I don't want to say this and like sound like I'm being ignorant about his situation, but like whether it's his anxiety, which I understand he deals with, or it's his actual physical body injuries. It's become very unreliable. It's become, you don't know when you're going to have this kid, and it sucks because he does have talent, but I think if you can get some good value out of him, as far as a trade goes, this is the time to do it. Look, Lane Johnson, I'm not going to lie. If you offer me like a good second round pick, I might do it. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I might do it. Like, I like Driscoll. I like Andre Dillard. I know a lot of people don't really necessarily want to see him at left tackle, but I like him. And I think that Jordan Mailata can learn right tackle. I have faith in him. I feel like you have options at that right tackle spot. Are they as good? Nowhere close. And I'm not going to sit here and lie about that. None of them are Lane Johnson.
Right, Joe? If you're giving me a second round pick and taking his money, I'm up to talk.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, all right, we could.
We didn't start winning until he came back. I feel like he's just
so important. It's a fact. It's a fact,
man. I would be terrified to let him go.
It's a fact,
personally.
But that goes back to like the beginning of this conversation where it's like you got to be honest as a front office of who you think this team is and what they're going to be moving forward, right? So I mean, it's all intertwined, right? But we are about to get out of here, man. Listen, Lord Brunson, Tom Arnone, my homies from the beginning of this, they've shown nothing but love, shown nothing but support, have really helped me along the way. So I appreciate you guys. It's always an honor. I'm talking like we've never done lives together, but it's always an honor, always a pleasure to have you guys on the show. Before we get out of here, tell the 100 people still in the chat where they can find you guys.
At Lord_Brunson. Lord Brunson. It's gonna pop up.
Yeah, you can find me on HUD Radio or Tom Arnone. Either way, if you want, you don't want to follow my personal accounts. That's boring. I mean, if you want to stalk talk, then Tom Arnone, or just go follow HUD Radio.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And shout out to everybody that's tuned in. I appreciate everybody that drops super chats. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe. I am like less than 150 away from 3K. I would love to hit that pretty soon. I appreciate y'all. But other than that, man, y'all know what it is, man. It is Fly Eagles Fly. And we are out here. Peace!
Scott with the Philadelphia
John
Eagles.
Dornbos here at the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, we're just the Philadelphia Eagles.
Follow my guy Joe Castro on his YouTube/podcast channel.
Let's give a shout out to the Philly podcast.
And shout out Philly and my guy Joe Castro. So keep on doing great things, guys. Fly Eagles Fly.
Fly Eagles Fly.
Go Birds.